I was on a call with a business owner today, and he asked me, Joshua, what's a good way to become a good client of yours? Great question, and I promised him I would record this video for him and for everyone else who is curious how they can become the best client they can possibly be for Joshua Lisec, Certified Ghostwriter. There's 3 things that you can do. Not all of them are going to apply, but depending on what type of content you're writing, whether it's an article, chapters for your book, a script, a TEDx talk that you need produced for you, there's a few different ways to think about how to come into your first conversation with your ghostwriter, your speechwriter, your copywriter, and be in a position where, guess what? You'll become the best client you can possibly be. So here's the first thing. You do not have to have a first draft. You don't even need an outline. If you don't have either of those, here's what I do need from you. And there's 3 options, depending on what seems to be the most intuitive for you. My job as your ghostwriter is to make this as done for you, as concierge, as delegated, hands-off, work on your content, not in your content, as possible. So here goes. I need you to have 1, this general frame, general outline, general idea. Number 1, what is the point you want to get across? What's your opinion, your perspective that you want to share? Could you state that in a sentence, a paragraph? Even if it's just stream of consciousness, writing down notes. What do you have to say? Basically, what is the argument you're making, the position you're putting forwards, what do you want to communicate to people, right? So that's one piece. Along with that, is there a story you have or know of or would need me to go find for you or make up? Frankly, I'm a ghostwriter. I mean, I also ghostwrite novels. I mean, come on. What's the story that you know we could possibly use to make your point vivid? The example, basically. And then, based on your story and the point that it makes, what are the steps I need to know? What is the framework I need to be aware of? What is the process that is illustrated by the example that drives your point home? And then what's the call to action? That is one way to think about the content I will be creating for you. So if you could come in knowing your story, the point of the story, what the steps, the framework, the teachable moments are, and then in any case it can be just facts or tips that you should be aware of that are important to you, and then what's the call to action? Those 4 things is one thing you can come with, bring to our first call together for your either a chapter of your book or for a piece of content. Now, the next way you could think about this is based on my system, the best way to say it, which is how to write anything from blog posts, tweet threads, social media posts for your Facebook group, to white papers and textbooks. What's the maximally persuasive way to say it? And it's a very simple system. It goes like this. What is your big idea? And by big idea that means what is your unique, controversial, or just different from everything else that's out there take on a topic? This is actually borrowed from how to get a TEDx talk, in fact, because when you're giving a TEDx talk, or at least you're pitching one, you're applying to give a talk and to be invited to give one, you have to say, what's your big idea worth sharing and why is it worth sharing right now? If I were to ask you, let's say you want to write something about, artificial intelligence. Okay, maybe you have a business that's in that world, that domain. Then what's the big idea you want to share about that topic, and why is it worth sharing to you right now? And here's the thing, you may not have great answers for that for me yet, but if you at least come prepared to talk about that and get me your notes ahead of time in a simple email, Twitter DM. I'm getting clients out the wazoo are reaching out to me, finding me from Twitter nowadays. I'm at Joshua Lisec. If you want to be part of that action, that's all you got to do. Just think through that. What's the big idea you want to get across? And then are there a couple of supporting points that you would like to get across and make clear in the piece of content that support your big idea? And then here is the third framework, the third perspective, the third filter that you could come with. And you choose the one of these 3 that works best for you, the way that you think. Okay, adapt my system to your methods and your approach. Here's the third one. What do customers, your audience, What do they need to think, feel, and do based on the content we're going to write together? What do your customers need to think? How do they need to think differently? Is there a belief they have that's wrong? Is there something that they're not aware of yet that you want to put on their radar? Okay, that's another one. What do they need to feel? In order to take action, we have to use the right words that persuade people to take action. So what feelings do you want to cultivate? I was giving someone who's in the blockchain space some advice about the token white paper that she's put together, as well as a service that she offers within the blockchain space about the emotions she needs to cultivate. She's very much an analytical, type A personality. Let's get to the point, just the facts, the data and information, but there's not a whole lot of emotional value. No emotional resonance in that message. And we talked about the different words she needs to use, down to the actual words, that are going to allow her to cultivate the emotions she needs within her buyers in order for them to say yes to her. And then, of course, what do you want them to do? What's the action you want them to take? And yes, this is similar to the first one, but this is more so really based on the mindset of the person. And maybe the do is read another article on your blog. It's subscribe. It's reach out to you. It's use a solution, employ a solution that you've described there. So those are the three ways. The first one, as I talked about, is you've got your story, you've got the point that the story illustrates, you've got the steps, the tips, the tactics, the processes, the theories, the framework, and then you've got the call to action. That's one way to come to Joshua and be a great client. The next one is the big idea. What's your big idea worth sharing, and why is now the time to share it? And then what are the supporting points of that big idea? That's the second one. And then the third one, as I said, is all about the buyer's mindset, your future customer's mindset, who are going to be digesting your content, whether it's an ebook or whether it's a book itself. And of course, that is, what do you want them to think, feel, and do based on consuming your content? And all you need to do is brain dump your thoughts on either one of those in an email to me, or in a message, a DM, a text, a tweet, a WhatsApp, or a Voxer to me, and I will make it happen. Basically a set of blueprints, and I will make your content real. And if you're intrigued by this whole thing about the best way to say it, what's this about, Joshua? For $99, you can slay writer's block for the rest of your life. One of the biggest things that causes content to fall flat out there, whether you're creating awareness for your business or trying to drive conversions with an ad or an email for marketing, is decision fatigue. Because you're always having to think about, what's the right way to say this? How should I say this? And you're constantly demanding that your brain, your inspiration, your motivation are all there to come up with the right words for your copy. Well, decision fatigue, especially nowadays with COVID-19 and digital and working from home and parenting from home and all this stuff, the resources, the mental resources you need aren't always there. Now, what if there was a repeatable step-by-step system that totally circumvented the muse, feeling it, and allowed you to produce reliably good, not just good, content, but the best way to communicate what you want to say, that eliminates decision fatigue and slays writer's block monsters for the rest of your life? It's the best way to say it. Check out the link in the description or in the comments below, and I will see you somewhere. Maybe Twitter, maybe inside the course, maybe reach out to me directly. Your call.